All right, so as I was going through like this series, and when I got to this one specifically, I had this thought in my head. It's like, oh man, this is actually like a pretty big stopping point, or not a stopping point, but kind of like a definitive end for this franchise in a way, and I'll get into more about that once we get into the to talking about this movie. But yeah, this is the end of an era for this franchise. But like I said, we'll talk more about that once we get into the review. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strung from QuickTime Reactions, and welcome back to my Mission Impossible review series here on my channel, where I'm going to be looking at all 7 of the previous Mission Impossible films before we reach our final reckoning. Or, as I'm calling it in my head, the Any Stunt You Can Do, I Can Do Crazier tour for one Tom Cruise. And we have reached, like I said, the end of an era, because this film is the last film to be helmed by someone not named Christopher McQuarrie, because Christopher McQuarrie would take on the franchise from the next film to now, essentially. So let us talk about it. We are talking about Mission Impossible 4, aka Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. The IMF is taken offline. They are in the state of Ghost Protocol after a mission goes badly, but they are still trying to hunt down a target with the name of Cobalt, in the hopes of trying to stop nuclear war from occurring on the planet. Will Ethan and his IMF team be able to do it? We're going to have to find out. But yes, this is the last film not to be directed by Christopher McQuarrie, or have, well, I should not say that, because Christopher McQuarrie was actually on this because he actually came in to do some rewrites on the script. But this film, of course, stars Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt and sees Simon Pegg return as Benji. We also have Paula Patton in this movie, and someone who actually would have a brief cup of coffee in the franchise. He'd be in this movie and the next one, Mr. Jeremy Renner. Yes, Hawkeye himself was in this franchise for a little bit. We also have some people in brief little appearances in the film, like vingrhames and Michelle Monaghan. They're in the tail end of the movie. And of course, we have. Let me see if I can't pull up his name real quick. Do, 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 do. Josh Holloway is also in this as Trevor Hannaway. Vladimir Mashkov as one of the Russian henchmen, and Michael Nyquist. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. Who, I was like, I recognize his face in this. He was one of the he was the first bad guy in the John Wick franchise. He was the first guy that John Wick, well, maybe not the first guy. He went after his son, but yes, he was. I'm trying to look up his name. Vigo. There we go. He was Vigo in the first John Wick movie, and I was like, oh, that's sweet. Of course, this was under the Bad Robot production company, which is J.J. Abrams' production company. And what I find funny is that J.J. Abrams directed the third film, and he was a producer on the next 2 films. And having watched 3 and then coming into Ghost Protocol, and then getting into Rogue Nation, and then into Fallout. These like 4 films tell like a really good, like interesting story and through line throughout all of them, and we'll get into more of that once we get into the later reviews. But there's a really good, like overarching, like 4 movie like story told in these films. Josh Applebaum, I hope I'm saying his last name right, and Andre Nemec were the ones that wrote this movie, and the director, like I said, this is the last one that is not directed by Christopher McQuarrie, and the man that has that distinction is legendary Pixar director Brad Bird. Yes, Brad Bird was the one that directed this, and I think he did a really good job of directing this film, having a lot of long takes. Like, for instance, like the opening scene is, I believe I'm remembering this correctly. Yes, it is Ethan breaking out of a Serbian prison, and that was shot really, really well. And I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a really good film. Another thing that I really appreciated in this movie is that a lot of IMF's tech didn't quite work out properly, just like heightening the tension even more. The first instance of that happening is when Ethan gets his mission at the phone booth. Of course, the message says this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. And then it doesn't, and he goes up to the phone booth and punches the phone booth to make it self-destruct, which I found was a nice touch. The mask maker doesn't work, but I think the more famous one is when, obviously, the big stunt in this movie is Tom Cruise climbing the Burj Khalifa from the outside. And absolutely insane, crazy. Cannot believe he was able to do that, and blew my mind watching that. But when he's climbing it, his glove disengages a little bit, so he slips and falls a bit on that building, and it's just like, ooh, just like a little scary. And that it was a really nice touch to, kind of see that play out in, the tech isn't always reliable for IMF. I actually really liked Jeremy Renner's character, Brant. He is an analyst for IMF, but he also has a bit of a secret. He used to be a field agent, and was in charge of looking out for a man and his wife, and supposedly failed at his mission because the wife had died and the husband vanished out of thin air, and he vowed to never be in the field again. And seeing like the decisions that he makes before that is revealed, you can definitely see him thinking through every single decision. Like when he has the briefcase with the nuclear codes in it, and he's just like, he's holding it out of the building, just ready to drop it at a moment's notice. And it's like, yeah, he does not want, the world to, go to shit on his hands. But Ethan, says like, I've got this under control. And for the most part they do, but it's just like the Russians are just like that slight step ahead of them, which I appreciated in this movie. It's like, to me, a good story only works if the villains are as good as your heroes. That's why I always kind of base like my judgment on how good a story is. It's like, if your villains are as good or even a touch better than your heroes, then I think that provides a unique challenge for your heroes to kind of overcome and adapt and learn, and to maybe tap into a new skill that they've, not had to, you know, get into. And that's what I felt like when watching this movie, is that the Russians were just like that, just the little bit ahead of them. But it took, all of them working together as a team, and Ethan's, always complete the mission or mindset about him to, see that it does get done. And I was just like, that's, to me, that's what makes a really good story. The chemistry between the cast is absolutely incredible, especially with like Cruise and Pegg. Like, those two are absolutely amazing together. Renner slots in perfectly. Paula Patton also does a really good job in this movie. Like, obviously this isn't like the the team going forward, because vingrhames shows up at the tail end of the film, and we also do get a brief appearance of Michelle Monaghan walking into a restaurant as well. And this is like what I would call like a one-time cast in like this overall franchise kind of outlook. But I think all of them did a really, really good job. Like I said earlier on, the stunts were really good. The fights were really, really good. Hand-to-hand combat, and of course the iconic Burj Khalifa stunt set piece, absolutely amazing. Bradbird did an amazing job behind the camera. Michael Giacchino, once again, coming back to do the music. I feel like he definitely set a foundation as to what the music for this franchise it should be like going forward. And I think he continues his amazing work in this movie right here. And I would definitely say that Ghost Protocol is definitely my favorite out of the ones that I have reviewed so far. So my order now is Ghost Protocol, 3, 1, and then 2. So that is my current order right now, but of course we still have plenty more movies to go. But yeah, that is my review of Mission Impossible 4, aka Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. If you guys have not seen it, I highly recommend that you do, because it is a really, really good Mission Impossible film. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so the Pixar directors, and I don't know if it's a Pixar or if it's just like a CalArts thing, but the Pixar Easter egg of A113, it shows up in every Pixar film. It showed up in here twice. One on Holloway's ring. It said A113 on the ring. And when Cruise is talking with an IMF operative on the phone, he says Alpha 113, A113. So I was just like, this Easter egg will always follow me. Even in other franchises, it will follow me. But yeah, Mission Impossible 4, definitely a must-watch. Just in general. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you do. But yeah, that is it for my review of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Don't worry, we have plenty more Mission Impossible going on. But until then, guys, be safe out there, and remember, always check your equipment, because you never know when you're going to be 17 stories up, and if that equipment malfunctions, you could fall off a building that high. So just check your equipment sometimes, and I will see you guys next time.